Icon is the mock multi-launch coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. This is a dynamic ride with a convoluted layout that is satisfying in most rows, but it's extra special in the back row. One train offers the Enzo Experience, which is a spinning seat, and I was surprised just how close this got to Ride to Happiness for me. I will explain why in this review, while also touching on the ride's overall history and standard ride experience. By the mid-2010s, Blackpool Pleasure Beach was overdue for a major new coaster. Their last coaster had been a relocated SLC and Infusion in 2007. Excluding the Big Apple Kiddie coaster that lasted just 1 year, the park's last new coaster was none other than the big one in 1994. The big issue for this park had been space. To make room for a large new coaster, the park demolished Tom Sawyer Bridge, which was a midway connecting Big Dipper to the back area of the park. The rides along this path had been closed over the prior decade. This is where Icon Station and second half were placed. Closing Tom Sawyer Bridge made the park more annoying to navigate because everyone basically now had to walk past Avalanche and Revolution to access the back section, but it was worth it for Icon. The park also removed the Bridgestone go-karts, which were situated underneath Steeplechase. This is where part of the ride's first half was placed. The rest of it was positioned directly above the midway. Icon originally opened in 2018. That was the same year that Mack debuted their extreme spinning coaster model, which has been very well received. Wanting to take advantage of this concept, Icon began offering the Enzo Experience in 2022. The back car in one of the trains was replaced with a spinning seat. Icon adds a lot of energy to the park. The first half is countless near misses and close calls with rides and pathways. This makes it exciting both on and off ride. Then the second half is a mesmerizing mess of track. And I like how the entrance area is elevated because you can look over a majority of the layout. The light gray track and dark gray supports really pop in a day with blue skies. That doesn't always happen in England, but I've had good luck when visiting this park. I especially love how this ride looks at night though. It's beautifully illuminated, and the trains have functional lights, similar to the other Mack multi-launch coasters. Icon does not have any theming along the layout, but the pre-boarding experience is stylized. You enter underneath these Japanese arches. Then the station is a sleek, modern building, and I love this ride's soundtrack. It's an epic score that really builds up hype. Ever since this coaster opened, it has been one of the park's more popular rides. In my visits, which have taken place during the busy summer season, Icon routinely is at a full queue. As a result, the main wait has been posted around the hour mark. It didn't seem to dip at any point during the day. On quieter days, the queue seems to max out around a half hour. And a tip if you try to ride this early in the day, Icon does not open with the park. It opens a half hour late, but many people will still start queuing up for it. Unless you're one of the first people over there, I find it far more efficient to start with Nickelodeon Streak. That coaster actually opens with the park, and it can build up a long wait by the late morning because it runs just one train. Icon, meanwhile, has 3 trains. It can and has run 3 trains at once if you visit on a busy day, but 2-train operation is more common, and it's worth noting they will almost always try to have the train with Enzo available unless there's a mechanical issue. Most trains seat 16 riders, as they are comprised of 4 cars with 2 rows of 2. The train with Enzo only seats 14 riders, as the normally 4-seat back car is replaced by just 2 spinning seats. While 3-train operations allow for a higher theoretical capacity, the practical capacity is relatively close to 2-train operations. The crew usually needs the ride's full cycle time to prepare the next train, so a 3rd train will almost always stack. There are 3 key reasons that'll slow dispatches. 1. The crew was often waiting until the unload platform was mostly clear before admitting the next guests, causing a delay in boarding. 2nd, seat belts were added in 2021. These are on the outside of the harness and they don't change the ride experience in any way, but they do add an extra step for the operators. That being said, the crew is able to check the restraints quickly once all guests are seated. Third and most impactfully, larger guests can cause significant delays. The back row is a higher verify, meaning it can accommodate larger riders. This is why the back row is a 59-inch or 150 centimeter height requirement versus the 51-inch or 130 centimeter requirement in all the other seats. But not all guests notice this, and they'll queue up for other rows. If a guest does not fit in a standard seat, the usual protocol is that operators ask people in the back to switch with them. So they have to unlock the restraints, move people around, and recheck restraints. And there are several instances where the larger rider still was not able to fit in the very back row either. That rider then has to collect their belongings and depart the load platform while the crew rechecks the restraints for a third time. If the guest does not fit and it's the Enzo train, the air gates reopen and that guest must wait for the next train. This makes it a bit frustrating to wait for the very back row. Not only is the seat not available on every train due to Enzo, leading to a longer wait anyway, but there is a chance another guest may be moved to your row. This either causes you to wait an extra cycle or two, or worse, you may be moved elsewhere on the train once you get seated. This is unfortunate because the back car offers the best airtime. That is why I recommend sitting in the second to back. You have similar forces as the very back row. You're still impacted by Enzo taking away capacity, but you are not impacted by seat swaps, so it's a safer seat to go for. The very front row is almost as good though. Usually just has a longer wait. While the forces are a tad milder, you get the unobstructed view, which is a big deal on this ride given all the interactions. While most of the station is cramped, you can wait for the row of your choice. And then there is a long dedicated queue space for the front row. I usually would hop in line for that anytime I noticed it was short. That being said, the best way to ride Icon by far is with Enzo. That spinning seat dramatically improves the ride experience, but it'll cost you. As of 2024, a standard reservation costs £15 and a VIP reservation costs £25. That is per person per ride. Standard gives you a virtual wait time equal to the main queue, so you likely will be waiting 30 to 60 minutes. VIP only gives you a virtual wait of 10% of the main queue, so you usually wait just 3 to 6 minutes. For all intents and purposes, it's pretty much instant. If you purchase the Speedy Pass Skip the Line system, Enzo is not included per se, but you are allowed to use the VIP service for £15. When you return to ride Enzo, you usually will not have to wait more than one train. I would say the spinning seat goes out empty at least half the time. I think a lot of people are deterred by the cost. I think it's worth it though between the improved ride experience and how it essentially functions as a skip the line pass. The only exception was on a late night riding day this past summer when there were a lot of coaster enthusiasts in the park. I wanted to get an evening ride in Enzo, as did several other enthusiasts, so the line was probably 20 people deep. This would have taken a while anyway, but it took doubly as long because everyone wanted to ride alone. And I don't blame them one bit, especially because you're paying per ride. You see, Enzo spins far more if you ride solo. Enthusiasts have learned this, as have the ride crew. They often let people know they'll have a wilder experience if they go alone, and they will never pressure two separate solo riders to go together because they know the experience can be impacted so severely. Accessing Enzo or Speedy Pass can be a bit confusing. Whereas the main ride entrance is towards the back of the park, Enzo and Speedy Pass are nowhere near this. You have a few signs, but it took us a while to figure out where to go. You have to walk to the complete opposite end of the park. You then access them by passing underneath Big Dipper's entrance, which is not where you'd expect to see it. You then have this rather ugly path lined with industrial fencing. We thought we had taken a wrong turn into a backstage area, But no, that was the correct way. I really wish these could have been placed by the main entrance. Even if you know where to find them, it is still quite a hike walking over there if you're trying to marathon this ride with Speedy Pass. The trains feel similar to the other mock multi-launch and mega coasters, which is a good thing. These are some of the best trains in the industry. They are cozy and afford so much freedom. You have raised seating and an overhead lap bar. The ladder can come down tightly, but it's comfortably contoured and the profiling does not inhibit the forces. Now I'm going to run through the ride experience, breaking down each element. I am going to start with the standard train, then I will double back to discuss how Enzo improves the experience. Once dispatched, you slowly roll forwards onto the launch track. You pause briefly for a few seconds, and then you take off. Most mock launches are rather gradual, and unfortunately, Icons is in the exact same mold. The LSMs barely have any kick at the start, but they at least have some decent oomph by the end. This gets you up to 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour. Icon then navigates a super steep top hat underneath Big One's lift. It is not vertical, but it comes darn close, and it is the ride's second tallest element, as it brings you to a height of 82 feet or 25 meters. It offers good ejector for all, but it's extra sweet in the rear rows. Those in the back car start getting floater over the apex, then they are forcibly yanked upwards on the descent. It is the single strongest spot of airtime in the ride. The pullout leads directly into an inclined helix. Because of the solid sustained Gs, I routinely start to gray out here. If you have your vision, it is fun looking down at the guests beneath you on the paths. You then cross over the midway and have a banked dive over Steeplechase and underneath Big Dipper. This is an exciting visual. I cannot believe how tight the clearance is. The directional change offers a decent lateral jolt, and those in back also get some weak lift. This leads to some low S-bends. It is impressive how they're tucked in between Steeplechase and Big Dipper. And the final one offers a nice burst of laterals. You then have another scary head chopper underneath Big Dipper and navigate an upward S-bend. The train bleeds off quite a bit of speed here, but the front still gets some okay laterals as they are pushed into it. This leads to Icon's lone true inversion, a barrel roll. This inversion is excellent. It is delightfully slow, so it offers super sustained hang time. The first half concludes with a double down. The front gets 2 okay floater pops. The airtime is better in the back though. There, you get decent floater on the first dip, and good floater on the second dip. I also like how the second hump plunges into a tunnel. You then hit launch 2. You accelerate to your max speed of 53 miles per hour or 85 kilometers per hour. While you feel the speed, you do not feel the acceleration. It is even less so than the first launch because you're not starting from a standstill. It is far too smooth and graceful for my liking. This leads to the ride's tallest element, an 89-foot or 27-meter tall Junior Immelmann. While this technically is not classified as an inversion, it is disorienting enough to feel like one. It offers decent Gs in the entry, then the train stalls at the top, and you helplessly dangle sideways. Then the train is abruptly pulled downwards, producing some great sustained ejector airtime. Next is a banked upwards climb. The train snaps into it, offering a quick lateral jolt. Then the exit offers some faint negative Gs. This leads directly into a banked turn. You zoom through it and get some okay positive Gs. Without delay, you fly over a bunny hill. It's a rare straight moment in this ride's second half. It offers solid floater in front, but once again, the airtime is superior in the back. It is good floater there. This leads to an upwards helix pulling nice Gs, and the exit is even better. It suddenly snaps you right. This transition offers a decent pop of airtime. It is extra wild in front because you are pushed into it. The airtime pop is stronger, and you are thrown sideways simultaneously. You continue turning right, getting some respectable positive Gs, and then you snap left. This transition is not nearly as whippy as the prior one, as it only offers some light airtime in the rear rows. The train then navigates this tiny off-axis bunny hill. It offers a sweet airtime pop for all. After a mild bank turn, there's another leftward snap. It is so compact that it manages to offer a solid airtime pop and lateral jolt for all, even though the train is not moving too quickly. The final few elements absolutely suffer from the lack of speed though. The train calmly crawls through some S-bends. I like how the first is positioned directly over Big Dipper, and you also lean sideways a bit, but the subsequent ones do nothing for me. It just feels like you're meandering for the sake of it. You then hit the brakes and return to the station, ending the 3,750 foot or 1,140 meter long experience. This is a long and satisfying ride. Not only that, but the coaster is extremely smooth. It doesn't suffer from a rattle like some mock coasters can. As for pacing, I like most of the ride. You go from one element to the next at a good clip. A few turns in S-bends, particularly the final few, don't do too much for me, but everything around that is decent to good in my opinion, with the occasionally great element. Now let's talk about Enzo, because as I already noted, this radically improves the experience. The forces are similar to those in the back row, with a few notable differences. What I'm going to describe assumes you ride solo. I witnessed the train spin much less when two people ride together. I cannot emphasize enough you need to ride alone to maximize Enzo. The differences start with the launch. Once the train starts accelerating forwards, I would often rotate sideways and stay in that position, which was fine. This made the launch far more exciting. You have a ton of forwards launches and plenty of backwards launches out there at this point, but barely any sideways launches. Accelerating while facing outwards is an odd sensation, and your body is less bracing in this direction, so the LSMs feel stronger, even if they aren't really. The subsequent top hat is even better in the spinning seat. Anytime you can experience airtime while sideways or backwards, particularly of the ejector variety, it is magical, and it sometimes offers a tummy tickling sensation I usually only get on drop towers. On the following helix, I would usually enter sideways or backwards, then I would get one elongated spin. Adding the centripetal force on top of the positive G's adds an extra edge to the element. Now the next few elements have little to no spinning though, so you really have to hope you enter them at an odd angle. If you enter them forwards, they feel identical to the regular seats. I think the S-bends are neat if you take them sideways. Rather than getting laterals at the end, it feels more akin to an airtime pop in that orientation. The barrel roll is particularly spectacular though. I would consistently rotate through it. I lost all sense of direction while hanging upside down and spinning simultaneously. It is so disorienting. It is easily one of the best inversions in the world. The double down is good yet again, especially if you get that floater airtime in any orientation but forwards. Launch 2 is once again enhanced by the spin. I usually would rotate 180 degrees, which once again makes that speed gain feel much more novel and impactful. Next is a standout element on Enzo, the Junior Immelmann. Remember how the train sort of stalls out at the top? This causes the weight imbalance of Enzo to rapidly rotate you. Combined with a sudden ejector airtime in the descent, this is a truly wild moment. 1 second you could be staring at the sky, and another, you're ejected while hurtling towards the ground. This catalyzes the second half. While the first half is pockets where you rotate, there are points where my car typically stays in one orientation for stretches. Meanwhile, on the second half, I routinely spin like a top. And considering all the twists, turns, and directional changes, it is nearly impossible to tell where you're going next. It is a dizzying blitz of forces. This is easily the most I've ever spun a Mach Extreme spinning coaster. This fixes the finale, which is on the tame side in the standard seats. Those final bends in Enzo induce the fastest spinning on the ride. It feels more like I'm riding a teacup than a roller coaster. So what would I rate this coaster? Icon in the standard seats gets an 8 out of 10. This is a great launch coaster. I love the wide range of elements. There's a beautiful blend of airtime hills, inversions, and directional changes, most of which are decent to good with a few star elements. Then this coaster pairs that with exciting visuals as you narrowly avoid other rides in Icon itself. The launches are quite tame, and there are a few twists that disrupt the otherwise tight pacing, but this is a long and satisfying coaster. Of the Mach multi-launch coasters, I definitely prefer Helix. Icon is closer to Copperhead Strike in quality. Enzo, meanwhile, is a completely different story. That earns a 9.5 out of 10. This is an incredible experience. Enzo takes everything that Icon does well, but enhances the elements. The spin also fixes the pacing issue by adding excitement to elements that otherwise offered a breather. The biggest con with Enzo is the high price point, but you have to try it at least once. Then the other issue is that you can get a ride with barely any spinning if you ride in pairs. But if you ride solo, you can get a ride that comes close to Ride to Happiness. Ride to Happiness is more consistent, and it has a higher ratio of standout elements. But Enzo offers quantity and additional length. So in the end, I was surprised just how close the two rides placed for me. I really hope that Mach continues to add these spinning seats to more roller coasters, because they are a game changer. So those are my thoughts on Icon at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Do you agree that Enzo is an elite experience? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoy this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.